Hey guys. Okay, so I'm actually going to eat some humble pie. I'm going to backflip on a statement that I put out there about 2 months ago, just after the floods happened. See, on our social media, I put out there to say that I believed council was going to have to introduce a TLPI, just like they did in 2011, just after the 2011 flood event. TLPI being Temporary Local Planning Instrument, or what I like to refer to as like an emergency rule book, something that gets implemented in a really short time frame in emergency situations to help people kind of ignore or override the standard planning rules and requirements. Those standard planning rules and requirements in this instance relate to the flood overlay code, more specifically the minimum flood level that you need to adhere to. So I kind of sat there and went, okay, back in 2011 we had the TLPI. It allowed people to rebuild work that had been damaged below the flood level. Yeah, council's going to want to do the same thing again here. I mean, you look at areas like Rockley, Oxley, where they lost entire floors, if not entire houses. There is no way that council is going to want to force those people to go back through the town planning process. Keeping in mind the town planning process can cost like 5 to 10 grand by the time you account for town planning, like private planning fees, council fees, proposal plans, etc., etc. And it can take like 3 months by the time you jump through all of those hoops. There is no way that council is going to want to send those people already down and out, through all of those extra headaches and complications. Despite popular opinion, council is not a big bad guy. They actually do have hearts. So yeah, they're not going to want to do this. So naturally, they're going to have to introduce a TLPI, right? Yeah, I've since realized, like I said, I'm going to be eating some humble pie because the current planning scheme actually allows for the majority of those scenarios that council wants to endorse. Let me explain. So back under the 2011 TLPI, in super simple terms, from my perspective, there were two key benefits. First and foremost, the TLPI allowed people to increase their height limit from 8.5 to 9.5 metres. So it allowed people to raise the houses up that little bit extra to get above the flood level. When City Plan 2014 came in, council increased the overall height limit across the entire city from 8.5 to 9.5. So we now are allowed that extra height as of right. Now I knew this, that was pretty obvious. That's not what was pushing me to think we needed a TLPI. It was the second thing. The second thing allowed people to rebuild damaged work where they used water resilient materials, in super simple terms. So basically where they rebuilt better than they had it before. I thought, okay, that's what we're going to need this time around. We need that kicker rule there to allow people to go below the flood level. Yeah, I've since realised there's a really sneaky little clause within the exemptions within the planning scheme. I say exemptions, it's technically the prescribed accepted development criteria. I say exemptions for short because no one wants to go through all that mouthful. But yeah, there's a little clause within the exemptions that says, in super simple terms, and I am paraphrasing here, you can restore something that has been damaged where it was lawfully constructed. It's that last phrase that people keep missing. You're naturally going to sit there and go, okay, how do we prove something was lawfully constructed? If you go back and watch the video I did 2 weeks ago, I think it was, you'll find out it's not an easy process. If you come to me, I'm honestly going to put it in the too hard basket, so please don't come and ask me. But yeah, basically you can restore something if it was lawfully built in the first instance. Now this covers, like I said, the majority of situations council wants to endorse. I do emphasize the words wants to endorse. Think of council kind of like a parent. A parent's not going to let you sit there and have like 5 family-sized blocks of chocolate for dinner, now are they? No, they're going to sit there and say you need to eat your veggies, then you can have a little bit of chocolate after dinner. Same sort of thing here. Why would council want to encourage people to redo dodgy work when it's not in their best interest? So what are your options here? Well, obviously, if it was lawfully constructed, you can use that exemption, happy days, go on your merry way. If it was not lawfully constructed, which I think there is a bucket load of this stuff out there, all of those scenarios, well, I shouldn't say all of those scenarios, many of the scenarios I've seen reported in the media through newspaper articles, TV, all of that sort of stuff where people have lost entire floors. I've gone a bit of investigative work and dug into the history and gone, yeah, they should have been 1.5 metres off the ground. They didn't get approval to go less than 1.5. They've done the dodgy. So yeah, those people that have done the dodgy, you've got 2 options basically. First and foremost, you can do the dodgy again, but I'm not encouraging that for a whole heap of different reasons. First and foremost, most importantly, the fact is, the cold hard truth is we are going to see another flood event like this in our lifetimes. So you're kind of just delaying the inevitable. You're opening yourself up to that pain again in the future. Every time the start of the year rolls around, so we get to January and February, you're always going to be on edge going, is this the year where I suddenly have to go through all of that heartache and that pain again? So yeah, I would not encourage people to do the dodgy. What I would encourage people to do is look at trying to upgrade their current house to meet modern planning rules. So lifting things up to meet those minimum flood level requirements. There is a reason those flood level requirements exist. That may mean trigger a town planning application to go over the height limit, not always, but it may be. So look at going down that path. I do understand sometimes money doesn't allow people to do it. I'm not naive, I'm not ignorant here, but I just want to encourage people to think about the pain that's sort of sitting on the horizon if you don't bring it up to meet modern standards. Okay, so let's just recap. I'm eating some humble pie because I thought council was going to need a TLPI. I put it out there in the world to say council was going to introduce one. I've now realised they probably don't need a TLPI. I could still be proven wrong, one could be introduced, but I don't think they need it because the two key benefits that we had under the previous TLPI are actually allowed under the current planning scheme, provided it was lawfully constructed in the first instance. Like I said, don't ask me to prove something was lawfully constructed because it's biatch, it's hard. Gotta watch my language here. It's painful. So yes, if you do have something that was built dodgily in the past, I would like to encourage people to try and upgrade it and modify it to meet modern flood planning requirements, because it's just going to reduce the pain in the long term, please. Okay, that covers up everything I want to talk about today. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site-specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number two, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.